Imagine standing in the middle of Morocco's vast deserts, where the sun blazes almost every day of the year and the wind sweeps across the Atlantic coast. For decades, these forces of nature were simply part of life in Morocco. But today, they are being transformed into something that could change the entire energy map of Africa and maybe even the world. Morocco is betting big on becoming a global leader in green hydrogen, a clean fuel produced using renewable energy. This is not just another renewable project. It's a vision that could shift Morocco's economy, power industries, and turn the country into a vital player in the global energy transition. So how exactly does Morocco plan to do this? What projects are underway? And could this North African nation really become Africa's hub for one of the most promising fuels of the future? Let's dive in. First, what exactly is green hydrogen? Simply put, it's hydrogen produced by splitting water into hydrogen and oxygen using renewable electricity, usually from solar or wind. Unlike traditional hydrogen, which is made from fossil fuels, green hydrogen doesn't emit carbon dioxide. This makes it extremely attractive as countries search for ways to decarbonize industries like steel, shipping, and aviation, sectors that are hard to power with electricity alone. Now, Morocco has some unique advantages here. The country has abundant sunlight and strong winds, especially along the Atlantic coastline and inland deserts. In fact, Morocco is already one of the leading countries in renewable energy capacity in Africa, with massive solar plants like the Noor Ouarzazate complex and numerous wind farms across the country. This renewable base is exactly what's needed to produce green hydrogen at scale. But Morocco's ambitions don't stop at just producing energy. The government has a plan called the National Hydrogen Strategy, which aims to position the country as a major exporter of green hydrogen and its derivatives, such as green ammonia. The idea is that Morocco can produce more renewable energy than it needs domestically, then convert some of that into hydrogen to sell abroad. And there's already interest from big players. The European Union sees Morocco as a potential partner in its quest to import green hydrogen, since Europe needs clean fuels to reach its climate targets, but doesn't have enough renewable space at home. Morocco's proximity to Europe, with undersea pipelines and shipping routes already connecting the two regions, makes it especially attractive. German companies have already signed agreements with Morocco to explore hydrogen projects. In 2020, Germany and Morocco launched a partnership to develop Africa's first industrial green hydrogen plant, with funding and technical support from Berlin. The plan is to use Moroccan sunlight to generate hydrogen that could one day fuel industries in Germany and beyond. But Morocco is also looking at its own domestic uses. Green hydrogen can be converted into ammonia, which is crucial for fertilizers. Morocco is home to OCP Group, one of the largest fertilizer producers in the world, and a company that consumes massive amounts of ammonia each year. By replacing imported fossil-based ammonia with green ammonia, Morocco could both cut emissions and strengthen its agricultural industry. So, what's actually being built? Several pilot projects are already underway. The German-backed project mentioned earlier is one of them. There are also studies for large-scale hydrogen plants in southern Morocco, particularly in regions like Gelmamouyid, Noun, and Dakhla, where wind and solar potential are extremely high. The Moroccan Agency for Sustainable Energy, known as MASEN, is heavily involved in coordinating these initiatives. Private companies are jumping in too. International energy firms from Europe, the Middle East, and Asia are exploring joint ventures with Moroccan partners. The vision is that Morocco won't just have one or two projects. It could become a hub with multiple large-scale hydrogen plants, export terminals, and even dedicated pipelines. Of course, building this industry is not simple. Hydrogen is still expensive to produce, especially green hydrogen. It requires massive investments in renewable capacity, electrolyzers, storage systems, and transportation networks. That's why Morocco's government is carefully structuring partnerships and financing deals, often relying on foreign investment. Another challenge is competition. Morocco is not the only country aiming to lead in green hydrogen. Countries like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Namibia, and even Australia are pushing their own projects. For Morocco, The key advantage lies in its geography. Being just a short distance from Europe gives it a logistical edge, since shipping hydrogen long distances is costly and complex. Let's not forget Morocco's own energy security. For years, Morocco has relied heavily on energy imports, particularly natural gas and coal. By investing in green hydrogen, Morocco is not only aiming to export energy, but also to reduce its dependence on fossil fuel imports. That's a big strategic shift. Now, let's think about the future. Imagine a Morocco where desert regions are filled with solar farms, coastal plains are dotted with wind turbines, and giant facilities are producing hydrogen and ammonia for both domestic industries and foreign customers. This is not science fiction. This is the scenario Morocco's policymakers are actively working toward by 2030 and beyond. But the path is not guaranteed. Financing challenges, global competition, and the technical complexity of scaling up hydrogen production could slow things down. Some critics argue that hydrogen hype is outpacing reality and that Morocco might be better off focusing first on expanding renewable electricity for its own citizens before exporting hydrogen. Still, even skeptics agree that Morocco is positioning itself smartly. By moving early and building partnerships with Europe and other international players, the country has a chance to carve out a strong position in the hydrogen market. For the Moroccan economy, this could mean new jobs, new industries, and new infrastructure. It could also mean greater international influence, as Morocco becomes seen as not just a tourist destination or agricultural exporter, but as a vital energy partner for Europe and Africa. And for global energy transition, Morocco's role could be more than symbolic. If a developing country like Morocco can successfully build a green hydrogen economy, it could inspire others across Africa and the global South to do the same. As with all stories about the future, it's important to remember that things can change. Investments can be delayed, global markets can shift, and technologies can evolve. That's why, as always, viewers should research for themselves before making any decisions about travel, investment, or other actions related to Morocco or green hydrogen. So, can Morocco really become Africa's green hydrogen leader? The answer depends on many moving parts. But one thing is clear: Morocco has the natural resources, the political will, and the international partnerships to give it a real shot. And in a world racing toward decarbonization, that's an opportunity too big to ignore. Thanks for watching. How do you think this will play out?